Most of our books have been chapter books, so I'm going to do one for more kids. These are going to be picture books for them. These are all authors of kids' books who have multiple books. Some of them are part of the same series, some of them are part of different series. Every single book in this is going to be elementary age. A lot of them are like kids can read them to you, or they just need help on a few words. So we're going to start with Pete the Cat. I only have Pete the Cat Saves Christmas, but there's a bunch of these. Pete the Cat is also available in like little books that are easier for kids to read. I'm almost 100% positive there's YouTube videos of people reading Pete the Cat. These are by Eric Litwin, and the art is James Dean. James Dean also wrote a bunch of them. Another author, this is probably his second most famous. This is Chris Van Allsburg. Chris Van Allsburg wrote Jumanji as well. He wrote Zathura, and the remarkable thing about Chris Van Allsburg books is that there's 3 or 4 movies based on their books, and all of them are really strange. The books are really good, the art is really pretty. So this one is the Polar Express. The Jumanji art is gorgeous. He wins a lot of Caldecots for his books, or gets nominated for them. These are not books that kids can read too easily, and they're a really, really long read aloud, so I would put it into groups, like read half of a book or a third of the book, have the kid look through the pictures. The only ones that are really a series are Jumanji and Zathura. The rest of the books are just sort of standalone, but very fun to look into. We have Magic School Bus. They're all science, a lot of nonfiction information. This one's probably my favorite because it has Lenny the lifeguard, who is just hilarious. They go inside the Earth, they go in the human body, the solar system. They also have a TV show with it, which I think was on Netflix for a while. Not sure if it's still on there. If you can find it, the TV show is really good. The books are really good. There's a bunch of them. Pictures are just really pretty, really interesting. Really like the Magic School Bus books. It's written by Joanna Cole. The Clifford series, billion Clifford books. All of them are really good, really easy. A lot of these your kids can read to you, or you can read with your kids. Clifford's just sweet. Give you a good 5 minutes that you need. Okay, we have the Biscuit Books. Easy books to read. Most of my first graders can read the Biscuit Books. Biscuit's not terribly entertaining to read, but good for kids to learn how to read. There's a bunch of them in the series too. A little bit higher up on the scale of books to learn how to read, we have Henry and Mudge. Henry and Mudge are about a boy and his pet mastiff. They're very sweet. A lot of books in the series as well. Pretty easy to read. They are entertaining. Henry and Mudge are very, very relatable if you have a dog. Easy to find. Henry and Mudge. This is the Fly Guy series. Fly Guy is about a boy and his pet fly. The fly can talk. They go on a bunch of just kind of normal everyday adventures. So in this one, Fly Guy goes to school with Buzz, and the lunch lady tries to get them a couple times. There's a lot of Fly Guy books. They're pretty easy to read too. More of end of first grade, second grade reading book. Fun to read to your kids because you can buzz. So this is more of an author one. This is Arnold Lobel. He wrote Frog and Toad series. He also wrote the Mouse Soup series, Owl at Home. He's really funny because his characters have a dry sense of humor, which you might get more as an adult than the kids are going to get. The pictures are really pretty. They're funny little stories. They're quick. You can read them at chapter at a time, or you can read them in one sitting. This is more for like third grade and up to read by themselves, but parents read it to your kids. Frog and Toad have stop motion videos that go with them that I always enjoyed when I was younger. They're just kind of pleasant. The Froggy book series is by Jonathan London. Froggy is a frog who mostly gets into trouble, but there's a lot of sound effects that you can do. Froggy is really entertaining. We had a librarian who used to read it, and she would yell Froggy all the time. All of them are really worthwhile. More of a read aloud book. The Berenstein Bears are a fun book series for older kids to read. They're a really long read aloud. There's a lot of them in the series, which is nice, so you can pick and choose. This one's my favorite because of this page where they have all the junk food. I could stare at this page for hours. Stan and Jan Berenstain. There is a bunch of Berenstein Bears. There's also a new series of Berenstein Bears. They're all good. They teach good life lessons. The Arthur series is a PBS series as well. It's by Mark Brown. Arthur has a younger sister named DW who's really hilarious. Arthur's friends are almost always involved. They used to have computer games with Arthur stories that were fun to play. I doubt they still do. Be nice if they did. What happened to ours? They also have shorter books that follow more of DW's story. Helen Lester and Lynn Munsinger, they have written several books. This is the Tacky series, and there's a lot of books in the Tacky series. And Tacky is a penguin who's an odd bird, but a nice bird to have around. Tacky is hilarious. Helen Lester wrote some other books that are also really good. I don't think any of the rest of those are in a series. Everyone loves Tacky. Laura Numeroff, she wrote, probably the most famous of these is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, but my personal favorite is If You Give a Moose a Muffin. She also wrote If You Give a Pig a Pancake. There's a bunch of these ones. It's entertaining to see what one thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. So Mercer Mayer wrote the Little Critter book series. He also wrote If There's a Nightmare in Your Attic. There's 3 books in that one. He wrote some junior critter books. They're a little bit older, so they have some of these. He wrote a bajillion different Mercer Mayer books. They're all entertaining, very easy. There's just usually a few words on each page, and most of it's an illustration. There is a lot of different Mercer Mayer books out there, and all of them are fun to read and look at. In the same sort of vein as Mercer Mayer, there's Richard Scarry. Richard Scarry wrote the Best Mother Goose Ever. He wrote Busy Town. He's got Lowly Worm and Huckle the Cat. And they also have a TV series that go with them. The Olivia series. So Olivia is a pig who has a lot of personality. Her mother is perpetually exhausted with Olivia. I think we're all feeling like Olivia's mother at this point. The pictures are very pretty because they have a lot of real places with the illustrated pig family inserted in them. So that's the same for no matter which book you get. So there's a lot of the Olivia series, but they all sort of look like this. The big books are all by Ian Falconer. Kevin Hankey's, he wrote all of the Little Mice series, so Chrysanthemum, Lily's Purple Plastic Purse, Julia's Baby of the World, Wemberley Worried, Owen. They're all about little mice. They're all about just different problems. This one, for instance, is about Lily who's talking out of turn and showing off in class. Chrysanthemum is about a girl, little mouse, who doesn't like her name. They're just everyday problems. What I really like about these books is that he has the illustrations and then he also goes through and has little comments, which are kind of fun to read. John Shizaka and Lane Smith are a duo, and they've written a bunch of different books and illustrated a bunch of different books together. This one is my favorite of all of their books. It is called Squids Will Be Squids, and it's fables from more modern times. It's more of an older kid book. Probably younger elementary aren't going to understand it, aren't going to find it as entertaining. Lane Smith also wrote The Happy Hockey Family. The Happy Hockey Family has another book in the series. Both of them are going to make you laugh. They're very sarcastic. I have not been able to find The Happy Hockey Family Goes to the Country anywhere to buy, but I really want it. So if you find it, please let me know. Stephen Kellogg. He didn't just write American Tall Tales, but he has a lot of American Tall Tales. So he has Johnny Appleseed, he has Paul Bunyan, he has Pecos Bill. This one's Mike Fink. He also wrote the dog. What's the dog's name? Poppleton. I know it's not Poppleton. It's like this giant dog. Pinkerton. Stephen Kellogg also wrote the Pinkerton series. There's a lot of books in those. He wrote The Day Jimmy's Boas Ate the Wash. He's a really good illustrator. These are more longer books, so if you want a long read aloud, these are good. The best known of Janell Cannon's book is Stella Luna. Stella Luna is a really pretty book. She also wrote a lot of others about animals. So she wrote Crickwing, Penduli, Verde. Verde is my favorite. It's about a snake who does not want to get old and fat and green and not be able to move around like he does when he's young and yellow. The best known one is Stella Luna. These are really long read-alouds, but I have noticed that if you read them to younger children, they very much enjoy them. They kind of chill out for it. The illustrations are just gorgeous. In the vein of long read-alouds, Patricia Polacco has a lot of books. I don't think there's any Patricia Polacco books that really go in a series except for the semi-biographical ones. Most of them are standalone books. Hers can be sadder, so there are some that deal with really tough subjects, like she does one on the Civil War that does not have a happy ending. I like some of them. Her books are not ones that you really want to read aloud because they're going to be reading aloud for a very long time. These books are by Hervé Tulay, and he has written a bunch of them. This one is the best probably of all of them, and I have gotten almost all of his books for my classroom, and we play with them throughout the year. So what they do is, as you would say, it says press here, and so what you do is you press the buttons and things happen, and kids love to do it with you. It's fun to have the kid read it, or you read it to the kid and then they act it out. So like this one, rub the dot on the left. So you rub the dot and then the dot has now turned red. So it does this throughout the entire book. It's really active, really fun. He has press here, he has let's play, mix it up, say zoop. A little hard to read, so you might have to read them to the kid. Dr. Seuss wrote a billion books. Most of them are pretty well known. He's got a lot of movies that are made off of his books, like The Lorax. He's got Horton Hears a Who. They're all pretty long, so better to read aloud or for older kids. But then there's the beginner books like The Cat in the Hat, Fox and Socks, Green Eggs and Ham. Green Eggs and Ham has a Netflix series now. There's Dr. Seuss's ABCs. Hop on Pop is a really good one for early readers because it's a lot of words that they can read. Really good for read aloud. They're probably a good 15-minute book if you're going to read it aloud in one sitting. His illustrations are really fun. There is a website you can go to, or a YouTube channel you can go to called Art Hub for Kids, and it shows you how to draw some of Dr. Seuss's stuff, so if you need something to do with your kids, that'd be fun. We've done that before in my class. These next three kind of go together. These are more readers who are comfortable reading, but still not ready for chapter books. James Marshall has written a bunch of books. He wrote the George and Martha series. He wrote my personal favorite, Fox on the Job. Fox is a royal pill, and it's his Fox and it's his mom and his sister Louise, and mostly it's just Fox causing a lot of problems all the time and then having to fix the problems that he's caused. They're very funny. Cynthia Rylant is probably one of the best authors of all time. She has written both the Poppleton series and the Mr. Putter and Tabby series. She also wrote the Henry and Mudge series. Poppleton is a pig who is just sort of very pleasantly going through life. He has very nice neighbors. He has very nice friends. He's got a really nice way of looking at the world. They're very sweet. Poppleton's kind. I think there's 4 or 5 books in the Poppleton series. All of them are really good. Her other series that we have is Mr. Putter and Tabby. The best Mr. Putter and Tabby is Mr. Putter and Tabby Pick the Pears, but they're all good. Mr. Putter's an elderly man, and he lives with his cat, and then he has a neighbor named Mrs. Teaberry who has a bad dog named Zeke. It's just sort of what they do together, how they go about their lives. I like Mr. Putter and Tabby a lot. We have Shel Silverstein. So Shel Silverstein, he's written some books, so you might know The Giving Tree, you might know The Missing Piece. He's written some books, but what I know him best for is his poetry. He has 4 poetry books and then 2 Runny Babbitt books, which are also poetry, but they're more confusing. Shel Silverstein poems are really fun, they're really entertaining, and they range in size from, they can be long, they can be short. Where the Sidewalk Ends is his first book. He also has Everything on It, Falling Up, and A Light in the Attic. So those are his poetry books. I have saved the author that I think would probably be the best for last. This is Mo Willems. Mo Willems is Star is Rising. I've read most of his books, and I love all of them. 2 of his best-known series are The Pigeon. The Pigeon just wants to do things, and pretty much all you do is tell him no. And then you have Piggy and Gerald. Gerald and Piggy are 2 friends. Gerald is the elephant, Piggy is the pig, and they go about their life. Sometimes they're playing, sometimes they're trying to figure stuff out. This one, Gerald has to wait for a surprise from Piggy. They're really entertaining. If you have young readers, these are a great book series because most of the words repeat a bunch, and they also are really easy. You only have to help on every other word, if that. There's 20-some books in these, so if you get done with one, then you have a bunch more that you can read. I love Mo Willems books. Most of my first graders love Mo Willems books. Highly recommend. I just gave you a bajillion different picture books. These are all authors that have a lot of books in their series. I hope you can find some that you like and that your kids like, just to keep you through. Thanks for watching. Please enjoy.